Hello everyone and welcome to another deck profile, and today we're gonna be talking about Dragapult EX in the Prismatic Evolutions format. So, for our Pokemon, we have 4 Dreepy. We also have 4 Drakloak as the middle evolution that is actually a draw engine as well. We have 3 Dragapult EXs as our main attackers. We also have 2 Duskull, 1 Dusclops, and 2 Dusknoir, just to fix the numbers, to knock out basically anything in this meta. For our draw engine we also have the Fezandipiti EX. We also have 1 Radiant Alakazam to spread the damage around. We have 1 Lumineon V to get the supporters from our deck. And we have the new addition from the Prismatic Evolutions. We have the little tiny Budews that can item lock your opponent for free. For our items, we have 4 Buddy Puffin to get the Dreepies and Duskulls into play. We also have 2 Counter Catchers because we can manipulate and be behind in prizes as well. We have 2 Ultra Ball to search out our Dragapults or our Dusknoirs. We have 2 Nest Balls to get our basic Pokemon onto the bench. We have 2 Rare Candies to evolve quickly into Dusknoir or Dragapult EX. We have 1 Earthen Vessel to get our energies. We have 1 Night Stretcher to get Pokemon or energies from the discard into our hand. We have 1 Switch. We have 1 Tera Orb to search for our Dragapults. And we have 1 Lost Vacuum to get rid of the stadiums or tools. For our supporters, we have 4 Arven to get our items and tools from the deck into our hand. We have 2 Boss's Orders. We have 2 Iono for hand disruption and to reset our hand. We also have 2 Lens to search out for 3 of the Dragon type Pokemon from our deck and put them into our hand. And we have 1 Crispin. For our stadiums we have 1 Temple of Sinnoh. For our tools we have 1 Rescue Ward to reduce the retreat cost on our Pokemon. We have 1 Forest Seal Stone, which we can attach to Lumineon to search any card in our deck. We have 1 TM Evolution to evolve our Pokemon while going second. As the ace spec of choice, we have 1 Sparkling Crystal to attack for 1 less energy. And speaking of energies, we have 3 basic fire energies and 3 basic psychic energies. So, let's talk a little bit about matchups, but first of all we want to know whether or not we want to go first or second. And actually, what's the beauty about this deck? You actually prefer going second, but you really don't mind going first, because you can still get a lot of setup done by going first. If you get the Puffins, you can still set up your board pretty nicely, and if you go second, you can item lock your opponent with Budew, or you can evolve your Dreepies into Drakloaks. In any case, you actually don't really care as much whether you go first or second. You can still set up pretty well with either of the scenarios. So let's talk a little bit about the matchup. So the first, I'm gonna talk about the really good ones, and what's beautiful about this build is that it's actually very heavily favored into all of the other Dragapult EX builds. Like the one without, the pure one without the ghosts, the one with the Pidgeot, it kind of beats them all, which is wonderful. Also the Dragapult Iron Thorns also heavily favored this deck into the Iron Thorns variant as well. So it's the best deck for the mirror matches, and it's also one thing that I like a lot about this deck. It's actually heavily favored into Charizard EX, a strong deck that's always gonna be played a lot. And let's talk also a little bit about the bad matchups, and the most important one that I have to mention is the Lugia. Why is Lugia so annoying for this deck? Is because like this deck, it also gains something from the Prismatic Evolutions, and that is the Regigigas, which is a single prizer that can one-hit knockout your Dragapult EX without any issues, and it can one-hit knockout basically anything you play. So yeah, that's the card that really made Lugia so much better and made it really good into this deck. And another deck that's a really tough nut to crack for this one is the Raging Bolt EX. Why? Because it's very fast, very aggressive, and it can do a lot of damage before you even get a chance to set up. So even if you item lock them, they still get a lot of energies in play, and yeah, it's a very difficult matchup no matter how you look at it. And among the 50-50 matchups are the other predominant decks in the meta, like the Regidrago V-Star, like the Gardevoir that's also being played a lot in the Prismatic Evolutions format. All of the really good decks, except for Charizard, are really 50-50. Charizard is favored for us, and Lugia is favored for them. So, thanks so much for watching, you guys, and catch you next time.